Would it be possible to run modern Linux on a PowerPC Mac in 2024? Well, I've got this old iBook. This is a 1.33 GHz G4 machine with 768 MB of memory. Let's see how well that goes.
It's the Adélie with me on the exciting guy!
This is what the machine looked like when I first got it. The keyboard has seen better days. So, before I install Linux, I'd like to fix that. Luckily, a replacement didn't cost that much, so I ordered one. To release the keyboard, I pulled these two tabs so I can lift it. Someone has been eating cookies while doing their homework. Let's take it outside and clean it up a bit. I'll remove the airport adapter. And the memory shield. And remove a bit of dust, but it's not half as bad as I thought it would be. Pull out the old keyboard's connector and put the new one in place. Now everything back in reverse order and see if it works. It sure looks a lot better already. The keyboard works, but the delete key doesn't seem to respond. I hope that's just in this login screen. Let's boot Adélie Linux. I downloaded the PowerPC XFCE variant and burned it to a CD. Let's click the refresh button. There it is. And here's the grub menu. That's a good start. I unfortunately don't have the right display output adapter for this laptop. I believe it's called Mini DVI, so I couldn't capture the output. Will have to do with the image from my camera. Here we are in a nice looking XFCE desktop. Let's just run the installer. Default keyboard layout is fine. Yeah, let's do firmwares. It sees our hard drives. Let's just erase and use the whole disk. Yes, I'm sure. Right, seems like we need to connect it to the internet, but we don't have Wi-Fi yet. I'll plug in an Ethernet cable. Set the date and time and choose our time zone. A nice name for the machine. Crap, the delete button really doesn't seem to work. Let's choose the mobile preset since, laptop. Yes, please give us a bootloader. Enter a root password. Look away, will ya? Oh, root apparently is not acceptable. Create a user account. Alright, let's go! Installation couldn't finish. What? Read only? Didn't the installer run with root privileges? I've seen the KDE Partition Manager in the menu. Maybe that could help us out. Partition Manager requires privileges in order to work. Oh. After some fiddling around, I found this video by Action Retro, explaining how to get it done. So following his lead, I removed the macOS partition, created a 100 MB boot partition and a root partition to fill the rest of the drive. Formatted the boot partition with an HFS file system and the other as ext4. Ran the installer and did everything the same as before, with the exception of now using the pre-configured partition and running the installer from the command line as root. Now the installer actually works. Successfully installed! Woohoo! Let's reboot and see what happens. Okay, I expected that. Let's boot into open firmware by pressing Command-Option-OF and try to fix that. Unfortunately, the footage shot for this part is unwatchable. But I can tell you it didn't work because I'm a dumbass who missed the case sensitivity of the boot partition type. So I repartitioned, installed again and learned how to manually focus my camera so you can see what I'm doing. There we are, Adélie's grub menu on my iBook. I think this looks pretty cool on this machine. Out of the box, some things are missing however. To start with, there's no sound. It shows as sound by layout analog stereo, which seems to be some kind of dummy device. It only shows the headphone output, but even with headphones plugged in, there's no sound at all. If we list all kernel modules with SND in them, we see a lot of modules with names start with SND AOA. If I unload all of these and then modprobe the SND PowerMac module, I immediately have sound. If I don't unload the AOA modules, the SND PowerMac module doesn't seem to work. So I guess we're going to need to blacklist them if I want this machine to have sound after each boot. So I edited the file etc modprobe.d blacklist.conf, which didn't exist yet, and added blacklist SND AOA in there, which seems to be the main dependency for all of those modules. In etc modules, I added SND PowerMac, so the system would load that driver at boot. The changes in blacklist.conf won't do anything without rewriting grub, since blacklisting needs to be done before the kernel is loaded. So I'll do a simple grub install and reboot. Because grub got rewritten, I needed to head back into open firmware to get the thing to boot again, using the exact same commands as before. Alright, booting again. And we've got a working sound card. Still got some of the SND AOA modules, but most of them are gone. I don't care as long as everything works. Let's test it in a game. Well, it's sound. I installed SuperTux, but even the menu was too slow to work well, so I guess gaming is out of the question unless you settle for the most basic ones. Wi-Fi also didn't work at all. I think we just needed firmware files for this Broadcom card, but it doesn't seem to be available for the PowerPC variant of Adélie, so I needed to stick with Ethernet. So browsers, can we use it to browse the internet? Well, there's a browser installed, which funnily enough doesn't show up under internet but under other. This NetSurf browser works. You can read Slashdot articles. Google works, but not much more than that. This is what YouTube looks like. And this is eBay. Yeah, good luck with that. Here's Reddit. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be any other graphical browsers available. I tried compiling Falcon myself, but I didn't have much luck. I'm pretty sure that would have worked if it were available. So yeah, it works and that's cool, but you need a whole lot of tinkering to make it anywhere near usable. The only alternatives on PowerPC seem to be ArchPower, which is a PowerPC fork of Arch, and Gen 2. Debian doesn't seem to be supported on 32-bit PowerPC anymore. I could not get ArchPower to boot, however, and Gen 2, I don't know, maybe I should try it sometime. I guess you could still use this as a server of some kind, but personally I wouldn't use a laptop for that. That's all I have for you today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.